They said Earth's jungle teams were a myth born from desperation. The Galactic Empires, vast, ancient coalitions of star systems unified under conquest and protocol, scoffed at the idea that unenhanced, mud-covered humans in vine-woven gear could pose any threat to their armored divisions and orbital precision strikes. To the Empire's citizens, Earth's defenders were a footnote in a fading rebellion, a final joke told before the lights went out on the last independent planet in the sector. But Ryka Aden wasn't a joke. She moved silently through the canopy's underbelly, her senses tuned to every sound the jungle whispered. Her boots touched the earth like she'd been born of it, slow, steady, deliberate. Around her, the rest of Team Viper melted through the foliage with equal discipline. Each one had survived campaigns where entire battalions vanished. They weren't ghosts. They were trained, broken, and rebuilt by war. Ryka's eyes flicked to the tree ahead. A faint shimmer, barely perceptible, marked an Imperial sensor net. Newer tech, too. The Empire was adapting. She raised her hand, clenched it twice. Stop! Marcos, the point man, crouched beside a fallen root, pressing his palm into the earth. His knuckles bore faint scars that never healed. Tilo, the comms specialist, unslung his relay pack, fingers dancing across the controls. Anna, the newest and youngest of them, adjusted the optical scope on her rifle, trying to calm her breathing. This was only her fourth field op, but she was steady. Ryka had seen to that. They've added pulse bounce relays to the net, Tilo whispered. Not just motion. They're using neural scans. Ryka nodded once. They're hunting minds, not movement. Marcos's voice was gravel. Then they won't find us. A faint chime sounded in Ryka's ear, the encrypted ping of orbital activity. She tapped into the feed. 3 Empire troop carriers had just broken atmosphere, diverting from their patrol pattern. Destination, Sector Blackwood, her sector. The net was closing. They're redeploying. Must have taken the bait at Camp Echo, Ryka murmured. Anna raised an eyebrow. You sure they bought it? They think we're predictable, Ryka said. It's their greatest weakness. Tilo smirked. Then let's disappoint them. The mission was simple. Infiltrate the command outpost east of Blackwood Ridge. Tap the Empire's forward net. Extract a memory shard planted weeks ago by a deep agent. Return without being seen. A classic ghost op. But this time, they knew the Empire was watching. Ryka recalled the briefing. High Command believed the Empire had deployed a new AI-driven algorithm. Something adaptive, capable of recognizing combat patterns across multiple timelines. It didn't fight the jungle teams. It studied them, which meant this wasn't just another op. It was a message. Either they proved unpredictable, or they confirmed extinction. They moved. Like wind threading a needle, the team bypassed the sensor net. Tilo pulsed out a static charge, scrambling the field for 4.3 seconds. Enough time to slip through, but not long enough to trigger a failsafe. Ryka's body tensed with every step. They had danced through worse before, but this time, she felt something different. Watched. The outpost rose from the jungle floor like a blade jammed into soil. Unlike previous structures, this one was narrow, efficient, Empire architecture shaped for speed, not dominance. No banners, no excessive plating. They were learning Earth's terrain. Marcos counted the guards. 2 at each gate. For drones. Roaming sentries. Pulse beacons cycling every 12 minutes. Too clean, Ryka muttered. No redundancy. They're baiting us, Tilo said. Ryka nodded. Let's not disappoint. The infiltration was textbook. Anna and Marcos created a distraction in the western quadrant, just enough noise to draw the drones and 2 guards. Tilo and Ryka slipped through the eastern blind spot. Anna took her first confirmed kill. A clean shot, no sound, no hesitation. Ryka registered it with quiet pride. Inside the command chamber, they found a shard exactly where their agent said it would be, embedded in the power routing matrix. The moment Tilo touched it, his eyes widened. This isn't just recon data, he whispered. It's targeting matrices, whole fleet movements, schedules. And, Ryka asked. Tilo paused. They're planning a burn. Anna frowned. A planetary strike? No. Worse, they're sterilizing the jungle. Ryka felt her blood cool. A jungle burn wasn't just deforestation. The Empire planned to deploy nanofog, self-replicating machines that would dissolve organic material across a planetary range, reducing entire ecosystems to sterile biomass fields. No cover, no life, no resistance. They can't deploy that tech here, Anna said. It's against their own accords. They're rewriting the rules, Tilo said. They think we're not worth the old ones. Marcos's voice buzzed over comms. Contacts incoming. 50 seconds. Ryka turned to Tilo. Download everything. We blow the shard and the node. No evidence. Anna kept watch while the system drained. Ryka glanced at her, tense, eyes scanning, jaw locked. 4 ops ago, she was a farm girl from Valles Marineris, teaching herself to shoot tin cans off fence posts. Now, she was about to become part of a legacy the Empire couldn't erase. Extraction Plan Gamma, Ryka ordered. They moved fast, planting thermite along the walls and in the central processor. Ryka activated the charge remotely as they cleared the perimeter. Flames ballooned silently behind them, licking through composite steel and biocircuitry. By the time the Empire's patrols arrived, there was nothing to salvage. Back in the canopy, Ryka called the evac point. Secondary drop confirmed. 30 kilometers north. 0 signal trails. Anna exhaled slowly. We walk. We survive, Ryka said. They settled in a cave beneath a waterfall by dusk, soaking and shivering but alive. Tilo secured the data. Marcos checked the perimeter. Anna leaned against the stone wall, cradling her rifle. That AI, how much does it know? She asked. Tilo looked up. Everything it's seen, every tactic, every pattern. It's called Paladin, built to counterinsurgency across all Empire holdings. And the Phantom? Anna asked. Is it tracking that too? Ryka studied her for a moment. There is no Phantom. Anna blinked. But the stories... Stories are weapons, Ryka said. The Phantom is fear. It's silence. It's the gap between what they know and what they feel. Anna nodded, absorbing the weight of it. Marcos stepped inside. Scouts passed us. No trail. We're clear. Ryka looked out into the night, jungle breath cool against her face. They're getting smarter, she said. Tilo shrugged. So do we. In the distance, a hawk called. Faint. Eerie. A warning carried on wind. Ryka turned to her team. We have one advantage they can't replicate. What's that? Anna asked. Ryka smiled faintly. We belong here. The jungle listened. And as the Empire moved its pieces across the planet, convinced of its growing certainty, Earth's defenders vanished again. Into roots, into mist, into myth. And somewhere, deep in a chamber where no sunlight reached, Paladin processed its latest loss. The algorithms failed to match the event. The pattern broke. A single line of code blinked. Unknown entity detected. Phantom anomaly increasing. The war was far from over. The jungle was quiet, too quiet. Captain Ryka Aden lay prone beneath a curtain of vines, watching a narrow ravine that split the Empire's temporary outpost in two. A light drizzle filtered through the canopy, dampening her uniform and softening the already muted sounds of the forest. Her eyes didn't blink. Her breathing matched the rhythm of the rain. Across the ravine, beyond the outer sensor grid, an Imperial relay station pulsed with blue-white light. It was nestled between rocky outcrops, an ugly wedge of steel and antenna that looked like it had been slammed into the earth. This was their objective. Anna crawled beside her, careful not to disturb the foliage. Visual on 4 sentries, she whispered. 2 by the gate. 2 on the overlooked tower. Ryka gave a slight nod. Tilo was already in position on the eastern ridge, monitoring frequencies. Marcos was circling behind to sever the power line. The operation was delicate. Less sabotage, more theft. Earth needed intel. Proof. Patterns of movement. Names. Access logs. Data the Empire thought was safe in a backwater relay hub. Ryka didn't care about how secure they thought it was. She had seen the Empire's confidence before, on other worlds, in other wars. That arrogance always bled. She tapped her wrist pad twice. A A silent countdown began. 60 seconds. Anna took a breath. Her first real infiltration. Ryka didn't say anything comforting. That wasn't her way. But she kept her eyes on the girl, reading the tension in her jaw, the way her fingers trembled before locking around her sidearm. Anna was afraid, but not paralyzed. That mattered more than confidence. 30 seconds, whispered Tilo over comms. External cams are looping. Feed's been hijacked. Copy, Ryka replied. Marcos. A brief burst of static, then power grid spiked. They'll think it's a surge. You're green. Ryka rolled forward, a fluid motion born from years of crawling through enemy territory. Anna followed, her breath short but steady. Together, they reached the outer shell of the relay station. The sentries were still facing outward, unaware that their own perimeter had already folded in. Ryka planted a silent charge on the access panel. A soft vibration pulsed through the metal as the lock disengaged. The door slid open with a faint hiss. They slipped inside. The interior was sterile, humming with energy. Banks of terminals blinked with imperial sigils. A central hollow table projected fleet movements, most concentrated in the upper quadrants. Earth was a footnote, an afterthought. Ryka approached the main console and inserted a cracked interface drive. It looked like junk, a relic from Earth's early orbital days, but beneath its scratch casing was cutting-edge decryption code, the kind no Empire algorithm could see coming. Anna stood watch, eyes darting to every corridor. 5 minutes, Ryka said. Copy. Doors jammed. No alerts. The screen scrolled rapidly as data flowed into the drive. Ship registries, officer logs, tactical assessments, and something else, something unexpected. A subfolder marked with an encryption tag Ryka had only seen once before, Project Eidolon. Her fingers hovered. She opened it. Lines of data blurred across the screen. Psychological warfare protocols, field reports, anomalous engagements on fringe colonies. Each report ended with redacted outcomes, survivor counts of 0, and a recurring tag, PHNTM. Ryka's chest tightened. It wasn't just a myth. Anna glanced over. What is it? Proof, Ryka said softly. We're not the first. Outside, Tilo's voice cut in sharp. Movement. They've got a patrol circling back early. You've got 2 minutes. Pulling data, Ryka replied. The file continued to download, percentage ticking upward like a heartbeat. Captain, we should go, Anna said. 1 more minute. We need this. The lights flickered. Tilo's voice rose. They've spotted the power line. Patrol leaders checking the grid box. If he looks up, we're ghosts, Ryka said. Stay sharp. Anna flinched as a loud metallic thud echoed from outside. Footsteps approached the station. Heavy boots, crunching gravel. The console beeped. Download complete. Move, Ryka said, pocketing the drive. She drew her sidearm and nodded toward the exit. They exited through the maintenance shaft, crawling through a narrow conduit that stank of coolant and mold. Behind them, alarms began to chirp. Tilo cursed. They've noticed the cam loops. You've got 30 seconds before they lock this place down. The team regrouped in the jungle just as floodlights stabbed the treeline. Marcos led them through a pre-cleared path, disappearing behind a natural ridge. Pulse fire snapped through the air behind them, but the Imperials were shooting blind. By the time the sentries reached the conduit exit, all they found were vines and smoke. Hours later, in the safety of the bunker, Ryka stood before a flickering holoscreen as the data decrypted. The deeper she went, the colder her blood felt. The Empire knew about the Phantom, had known for years. It wasn't a single unit or a person. It was a doctrine, a Black Ops initiative seeded during the earliest human resistance efforts on Mars and Saturn's moons. Earth's jungle teams hadn't created the Phantom. They'd inherited it. What is all this? Tilo asked, leaning forward. An experiment, Ryka replied. A psychological weapon. Deploy small units with surgical precision, deny attribution, then leak just enough for the enemy to believe in something more. Create a ghost. Make them doubt. Make them fear shadows. Anna crossed her arms. So, we're part of some old plan? Ryka shook her head. The Empire shut it down after it backfired. One of the original Phantom units went dark, started operating on its own. They never caught it. Tilo raised a brow. You think it's still out there? Ryka didn't answer. The holoscreen displayed the last known transmission from the rogue unit. Coordinates. Earth's jumble hemisphere. A timestamp dated 10 years prior. It never left, Ryka whispered. It's been watching. Marcos finally spoke. What now? Now we give them more to fear, she said. We use this. We feed the legend. The Phantom's not a story anymore. It's a message. And we're the messengers. Anna looked uneasy. We're faking a myth with an old ghost we don't control. That could backfire. Ryka met her gaze. It already has. That's why they're afraid. That's why they're coming. Tilo nodded slowly. Then we make it real. Every operation from now on leaves a mark. A whisper. A signature. Marcos tapped the display. Then we should let them see this, he said, pointing to a log file. An Imperial captain's audio recording. Breathless, frantic, describing an attack with no visible assailants. It ended with the line, "It moved through us like smoke." There was no heat, no sound, just death. Ryka played the clip over the calm frequency. She knew the Empire was still monitoring. Let them listen. Let the Phantom speak for itself. She shut off the console. Above, in the orbiting Valorant, Vel listened in silence. He recognized the voice in the recording. It had belonged to his cousin. The man had died on Karsus 4, one of the first fringe worlds to fall without a trace. He hadn't believed the rumors then, but now, with Earth slipping through their grasp and whispers rising through the ranks, he wasn't sure of anything anymore. Vel stood, the shadows of the bridge consoles flickering against his face, and muttered to himself, "What if it's not a myth?" And far below, in the depths of a rainforest thicker than the black of space, something moved without sound, watching, waiting. The briefing room aboard the GS Valorant was cold, sterile, and brightly lit, deliberately designed to suppress emotion. But emotion simmered anyway. Admiral Threx stood with his arms behind his back, staring at the holographic map of Earth's southern hemisphere. Dozens of red icons blinked, supply outposts, destroyed convoys, downed recon drones. A thin line of green, representing Imperial-occupied zones, was receding with every passing hour. "This is unacceptable," he said, his voice clipped. Around the table, fleet officers shifted uncomfortably. No one spoke. Vel studied the map from his place beside the admiral. What troubled him wasn't the scale of the losses, but the pattern. The jungle teams weren't hitting randomly. They were probing, striking at pressure points with precision. Not just fighting back, outmaneuvering. And always vanishing afterward. "I've requested full orbital sweeps," said Commander Aurian. "Thermal, seismic, even psi-spectral. Nothing. They vanish into the terrain like insects." "No," Vel said, softly but firmly. "Insects don't destroy an armored column in 90 seconds and leave nothing but signal jamming and paranoia." Threx turned to him, eyes narrowing. "You're suggesting something else?" "I'm saying the jungle teams aren't acting alone anymore," Vel said. "We're not fighting soldiers. We're fighting an idea. A ghost." The Admiral scoffed. "This Phantom nonsense again." Vel didn't flinch. "Whatever it is, sir, it's winning." On Earth, Ryka crouched beside a rotting log, her face smeared with ash to dull the shine of her skin. She watched through infrared lenses as an Empire patrol moved in tight formation through the gorge below. 5 soldiers scanning both sides. Professional, cautious, but not cautious enough. She signaled. To her right, Marcos deployed a sensory decoy, an artificial heat signature shaped like a crouching soldier. The Empire patrol turned toward it instantly. They never saw Anna drop from the trees behind them. In less than a minute, the gorge fell silent again. Tilo moved in to collect tags and record the operation's success. Each tag went into a black capsule labeled with Imperial symbols, to be planted at the next ambush site. A calling card, a warning. Ryka watched Anna as she cleaned her blade. The rookie had stopped shaking after her second kill. Now she moved with purpose. Efficient, controlled. But Ryka knew that control came at a cost. It always did. "You good?" she asked. Anna hesitated, then nodded. They didn't scream, just went down. Ryka looked away. Don't think of them as people. They're part of the machine. We break the machine, or it breaks us. Anna swallowed hard. And the Phantom? What happens when they start thinking it's real? They already do, Ryka said. And it's breaking them. 2 days later, the Empire returned in force. Dropships blackened the sky above the equatorial zone, vomiting out squadrons of mechs, infantry, and sensor drones. Mobile command towers unfolded like insects, planting themselves in the soil and linking to the orbital grid. The Empire was done playing. Ryka studied the feed from a repurposed Imperial satellite the team had hijacked. The deployments were aggressive, forward operating bases popping up every 50 kilometers. They weren't just defending. They were hunting. They're overextending, Telos said, grinning. No, Ryka replied. They're scared. Anna pointed at a column of heavy transports moving along a river valley. That's the biggest convoy I've seen. Target of opportunity, Marcos added. Ryka nodded slowly. We'll make it hurt. The team mobilized. In less than an hour, they were on the move, through foliage, across flooded ravines, beneath the dripping canopy. Rain pelted them, masking their thermal trail. Marcos rigged charges to tree trunks. Anna laid tripwires in the underbrush. Tilo jammed the convoy's comms 10 seconds before it reached the kill zone. Ryka waited until the first vehicle crossed the line. Then came fire. Explosions ripped through the trees, toppling armored haulers and flinging bodies into the water. Flames licked upward as the jungle itself seemed to awaken in violence. Screams cut through the rain, followed by silence. Only one vehicle managed to reverse. Inside, a terrified officer screamed orders into a deadcom link. He reached for the emergency beacon. A hand slipped through the hatch, pale, glove quiet. The last thing he saw was a pair of eyes like steel. Later, Ryka recorded a brief message using the officer's own wrist pad. No threats, no demands. Just 2 words, we're listening. She uploaded it to the Empire's own command net. Within hours, panic spread. Back on the Valorant, Vel read the intercepted message 3 times. It's a psychological war, he said aloud. They're using our infrastructure against us. Threx was silent, his eyes fixed on a new report. For outposts destroyed. 30 personnel unaccounted for. 0 evidence of attackers. The phrase Phantom Unit now appeared in 5 separate after-action reports. It had gone from myth to field tag. The Admiral finally looked up. Suggestions? Vel hesitated. He had a plan, but he knew it would draw backlash. Give them what they think they want. Send a decoy. Leak intel about a phantom capture and bait them into acting. Risky, Threx said, but bait cuts both ways. Vel nodded. If they take it, we tag their movements. Find a real command node. Cut off the head. On Earth, Tilo picked up the transmission. Imperial chatter about a captured operative. Location. Remote village once held by Earth forces, now occupied. It reeked of a trap. This smells wrong, he muttered. Agreed, Ryka said. They want us to react. On a pace. But if they really did catch someone, Ryka looked at the team. They had faced fire, darkness, loss, but never this choice. Risk everything for one unknown. Or play it safe and let the myth fracture. We go, she said, but not blindly. That night, under cover of a monsoon storm, the jungle team moved. They bypassed drones, avoided heat sensors, and crept into the occupied village. What they found stopped them cold. A body. Human. Jungle team gear. No ID. Stripped. Bound. Left beneath a strobing beacon. They want us to claim it. Marcos said, his voice flat. Tilo scanned the surroundings. Signals pinging every direction. We stay here. We're dead. Ryka stared at the body. A plant fiber was wrapped around the wrist, earth-grown. Not standard issue. She frowned. It's not ours. Anna looked confused. What do you mean? This isn't our guy, Ryka said. They staged this, but they got something wrong. That fiber, it's from a Northern Valley unit. And that unit was never deployed here. Tilo swore. So who the hell is that? They heard it then, a whisper of movement in the trees. Not Empire. Not animal. Something else. Ryka raised her weapon, scanning. Move. Now. They melted into the jungle, vanishing just as Empire squads closed in. By morning, the false beacon was gone. So were the soldiers. Vel read the report in silence. The bait had failed. Worse, it had backfired. The site had gone dark. No survivors. No bodies. Only the beacon remained, its power source drained. Admiral Threx didn't call another briefing. He didn't bark orders. He stared at the screen showing Earth, its lush green swirls mocking the Empire's steel and fire. In the depths of the jungle, Ryka crouched beside the mysterious body once more. They had retrieved it under cover, away from satellites. A retinal scan revealed something startling. The man was ex-Imperial. Defector? Anna asked. Ryka shook her head. No, something else. She opened a sealed pouch from his vest. Inside, a data chip. Unmarked, but it carried a familiar tag, Eidolon. She looked at the trees, at the shadows that whispered without words. He wasn't bait, she said. He was a message. The jungle had gone still. Captain Ryka Aden stood at the edge of a broken ridge, peering through binoculars at the Imperial command post nestled below in the valley. Rows of black obelisks, antennae and shield pylons, jutted up from the clearing like foreign roots piercing sacred ground. Supply drones buzzed overhead, while soldiers patrolled the perimeter in tight, nervous formations. The Empire had fortified the site as if expecting a siege. But sieges weren't how the jungle teams fought. Ryka lowered the binoculars. Behind her, Marcos and Tilo checked their gear in silence. Anna stood nearby, gripping the data chip they had recovered from the dead defector. Her face was pale, jaw tight. There's something on this chip, Anna said, handing it to Tilo. Not just tactical data. It's personal. Tilo inserted it into his console, eyes scanning rapidly. Logs. Names. Locations. It's a ledger of betrayals. He paused. Some of these people, they're Earthborn. Collaborators. Ryka said nothing. She recognized one of the names. A former general. Her mentor. Someone she had once trusted. Her chest tightened, not from surprise, but from the confirmation of what she had long suspected. Earth had cracks. Not all of them caused by Empire bombardments. What do we do with it? Anna asked. We burn it into their memory, Ryka replied. We show them we know, and we show the Empire that their secrets aren't safe anymore. Tilo closed the console. Then this valley becomes a signal flare. Ryka turned to Marcos. Are the routes ready? He nodded. 5 infiltration points. Ghost trails. Minimal exposure. Then this is our last run, Ryka said. We end it here, or we vanish like they expect us to. The operation began at dusk. Fog rolled in over the ridge as the team descended through tangled brush and damp ravines. Marcos laid traps, silent, fatal devices that would only activate if escape was necessary. Tilo piggybacked onto a passing Imperial signal, injecting a malware package seeded from the defector's chip. The command post systems hiccuped. Cameras reset. Drones rerouted. A 10-second window opened. That was all they needed. Ryka and Anna slipped through the perimeter like smoke. They moved between light cones, past humming fusion cells, and confused guards peering at glitching holoscreens. Their destination, the comms tower at the heart of the base. Inside, red light bathed the control chamber. A single technician sat slumped at a console, snoring softly. Ryka pressed a stun rod to his neck. He didn't even twitch before collapsing. Tilo's voice crackled in her earpiece. You've got 2 minutes before the override cycle kicks in. After that, they'll see everything. Anna sat at the console, inserting the data chip. Broadcasting on all open channels, she said. Every fleet, every outpost. They'll hear it. Ryka nodded. Play the message. The screen lit up. A distorted voice echoed across Imperial space. Spliced from their own officers. Carefully edited to say only what Ryka wanted them to hear. The Phantom is not one. It is all. It is every forest we failed to burn. Every whisper we failed to silence. You thought us primitives. You made us predators. The message repeated, accompanied by a looping feed of destroyed outposts, ambushed convoys, captured commanders confessing to fear and confusion. Over and over, the phrase, the phantom lives. Then static. Then silence. Pull back, Ryka said, but they didn't make it far before the sirens wailed. They're rerouting the drones, Tilo said. They found the signal origin. Fast response. Anna looked at Ryka. Do we run? No, Ryka said. We draw them in. She turned, tapped her comms, and activated the emergency pulse. It was a signal not just to her team, but to every jungle unit still hiding, still fighting, still waiting. From the trees, they emerged. Scattered across the valley, dozens of cloaked figures began their assault. Not a frontal attack. No banners, no charges. Just precision. Just fury. Explosions ripped through fuel tanks. EMP bursts blinded sensors. Camouflage fighters overwhelmed gun emplacements and melted back into the fog before the Empire could respond. Tilo's voice came over the line, breathless. We've got them. Their net's collapsing. Marcos's signal flared. Command tent neutralized. Their chain of leadership is offline. In the chaos, Vel landed with a strike force from the Valorant, desperate to regain control. He fought through the confusion, barking orders, demanding status reports. His armor was pristine, untouched by the mud or blood of Earth. Ryka watched him from the ridge, rifle steady, sight trained. But she didn't shoot. Instead, she activated her helmet speaker and sent a localized message. You came looking for a ghost, she said. Now you're part of the story. Vel froze, scanning the trees. He couldn't see her. Then the power grid failed. Every light in the base died. Darkness claimed the valley. The Empire retreated by morning. Their remaining units evacuated under cover of orbital fire. But the damage was done. The broadcast had spread. Across dozens of systems, the myth of the Phantom was no longer just a whisper. It was an infection. Soldiers questioned their commanders. Colonies demanded answers. Rebellions kindled. Ryka sat beneath the roots of a tree, watching smoke rise into the dawn. Anna sat beside her, blood smeared across her cheek, eyes wide with exhaustion. We did it, Anna said. Ryka shook her head. No, we reminded them. Reminded them of what? That Earth doesn't bow. Marcos approached, holding a charred Imperial insignia. He dropped it at Ryka's feet. They're pulling out of the southern hemisphere, he said. Empire forces consolidating near orbit. They'll regroup. Let them, Ryka said. They still think they're fighting soldiers. Anna looked at her. Aren't we? Ryka stood, brushing leaves from her uniform. No, we're stories now. We're the fear that keeps them up at night. Tilo joined them, limping from a bruised leg. So what's next? We vanish, Ryka said. Like phantoms. On board the Valorant, Vel watched the footage play again, the final moments of the base, the blackout, the voices in the dark. His face was pale, hollow. The Admiral was gone, killed in the chaos. Command was his now. He walked to the observation deck and looked down at the planet that had humiliated the Empire. For the first time, he didn't see forests or fog. He saw a mind, a presence, a planet that had learned to fight back. He whispered, "What are you?" Far below, deep in the jungle, a rustle stirred. Not human, not machine. A convergence of strategy, memory, myth. It had no name, only a purpose. And in that moment, it shifted, not to strike, but to wait. Ryka led her team deeper into the forest, silent again. No celebration, no victory cries, just the jungle, thick and eternal, swallowing their presence. In their wake, only a message carved into the bark of a tree. You brought war to Earth. Earth sent the Phantom.